Russia is warning the U.S. against future strikes as the Trump team blaming Russia for covering up those chemical attacks. It looks like Russian relationships are just getting rockier. To Lieutenant General Richard Newton on where does this all go from here. General, the accusation and finger pointing intensifying ahead of this meeting. Russia saying that they would like to get some clarity what our real intentions were with respect to these bombings, calling them ambiguous and contradictory. And, of course, President Trump saying Assad is all of the above that we just heard, and perhaps Russia knew a lot more about the extent of chemicals being used in a heinous attack.
Well, Charles, good afternoon. It's good to be with you. I don't think there's really any misinformation certainly from President Trump. In other words, we have a president and an administration. The president says, we will do what we say and we will act according to our national security interests as well. And that's what we saw last week with these 59 Tomahawk attack launches, if you will, against the Syrian air base. And so, on the other end, with now Secretary Tillerson meeting with Putin and so forth, Putin only understands power. He only understands and respects power and certainly tenacity. And so I think what's going on behind closed doors right now is certainly Secretary Tillerson explaining U.S. Our national security interests and our way ahead and moving forward with any relationship that we want to, although it looks to be a rocky relationship from this point on for the near term with Russia. It will stand on principle, and it will stand on United States, again, speaking and acting from strength.
Russia has major investments in Syria. It's a warm water port to the Mediterranean. It's at the crossroads of East meeting West. It's historically been the place where many sieges and the world's conquerors have always found the need to be there. How will they give that up? Or could something be done to accommodate the things that they want while still now the new plan of getting rid of Assad? Could that be negotiated between these two?
Yeah, I'm sure there will be ongoing negotiations. Hopefully that will be an outcome from Secretary Tillerson's visit to Russia. But again, our military strikes are only part of the means to an overall U.S. national security and our diplomatic effort. Keep that in mind. Certainly Russia does have their own national security interests in Syria. But what we're trying to do is we're trying to leverage these strikes, and again with a new strong national security team in place, to message and clearly communicate to Putin that U.S. also has national security interests in the region as well.
Right.
And that we're going to assure our allies, we're going to make sure, not only in the region but on a global basis as well, that the U.S., again, we mean what we say. And therefore, we're going to seek diplomatic solutions. However, if you look at the past 8 years, diplomatic efforts have failed. And therefore, these strikes, again, are to bolster U.S. national security aims as well as to support a stronger diplomatic effort that I'm sure Secretary Tillerson is taking on right now.
Yeah, the bottom line is there certainly is a new sheriff in town, and that changes the dynamics in that room, doesn't it, sir? Thank you.
It does. If I may, Charles,
Sure.
on that comment, I wouldn't necessarily call it a new sheriff. I would say we've got new leadership.
New leadership.
Town.
That's a better way of putting it.
And frankly, we're going to exert our influence and protect our national security interests. And when those red lines are crossed, we're going to counter that with effective U.S. capabilities.
Well, thank you very much for your expertise, and obviously we're all still somewhat on pins and needles because it's a dicey situation and everything is at stake. So we really appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you, Charles.